Coming up this week on the original Rochester Press Box.
I'm Dan Moriarty from Fox Sports 1280. The Teflon athlete as we know it is over.
And I'm John DiTullio. It's deja vu all over again. I'll explain.
And I'm Mike Catalana. 2 words that should be out of sports. Full ride.
And I'm Dan Fetes. Can the Yankee offense really keep this going? Join us this week on the original Rochester Press Box. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the original Rochester Press Box. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Fetes, filling in for Bill Pucko this week, joined alongside John DiTullio, former mentor of mine.
Oh, Fetesy, look at Loeb stepping up into the big chair, buddy. I'm fired up for you.
We got some big talent over here from the Rochester Media Association, the experienced veteran Mike Catalana, 13 WHAM Sports.
The old guy award.
Yes. And the rising star, Dan Moriarty. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for putting up with me. We'll start out right away with Deflate-Gate. Obviously, the Ted Wells report came out, 243 pages. I'm sure we read them all. Just give me what your first take is on it. We can start with you, John.
I'm hearing both sides. First of all, Patriot fans do not want to hear anything bad about their empire, so to speak. How many balls were checked to the Colts. What I take issue with, the more and more I think about it, if they're hammering the Patriots because they didn't hammer them enough for Deflate-Gate, I got an issue with. But I think the fact that Brady got 4 and they've been fined a couple of draft picks and $1 million is because they are repeat offenders. They are serial cheaters. Levels, I don't care. They cheated. And the one thing I've learned about the league, they may turn a blind eye to morality. They will not turn a blind eye to integrity of the game. So although I don't like the league, I think Goodell's got a God complex and I can't stand the Patriots. I'm going to back the league on this. I think they got it right.
Here's what I don't like about it. I'm okay with the suspension. I really go ahead, suspend him. Maybe by the time this is on, he gets it reduced. I don't know what'll end up happening to fight for it. I don't like when people try to make comparisons, even to, say, your guy, Aaron Rodgers. And they'll say, wait a minute, Aaron Rodgers says he likes the balls inflated more. This guy says they do this. And fans will say, well, the league lets you do this. This is the core issue. It is not about manipulating the footballs. It is about how it was done and when it was done. The secrecy done after the balls were checked. That is where I have the problem. That is where, if it's true, if you believe it is true, it's where it takes a step past gamesmanship. Gamesmanship is prepare the balls the way you want. Hey, and I don't have a problem with this. You can, if you sneak one past the officials there, that was their fault that they didn't check it and change it. You stick them on your hands, the ref can see it, it can kick you out of the game, they can do whatever. This was done, balls checked, certified, locked up, and now you have a guy get to it to adjust them afterward. I don't think that's that nuanced. I think that's a pretty blatant change. I think that's a pretty blatant violation, and that is what New England did. That's what they did. The same thing with Spygate, and that's what they did here. Covert, after the fact, blatant violation of the rules, and they deserve to get smacked down.
Dan, I didn't read all of the Wells report, but what bothers me is the words generally aware, or probably knew, or the likelihood that he knew. From that, what's next? Obviously, Brady's going to appeal. What happens next?
Yeah, I think that's just lawyer language. As Ted Wells said, that's the way it's stated in the NFL rules, so that's the language that he went by. 243 pages, 100 of those were equations that only Will Hunting would understand. So, I mean, none of us were going through and understanding what was happening with those things. As Mike was mentioning, though, the one thing I've heard Patriot fans, I understand them defending their guy. Any fan base is going to defend their guy. We've seen fan bases do that. But don't try and bring down other guys, too. The two things I hear, he mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Oh, Aaron Rodgers likes him overinflated. Yeah. No, if he hands the balls to the referee and they're overinflated and the referees catch it, then they're going to take out some of the air. It's not like his guys are on the sidelines pumping into the air, into the balls,
right.
like the Patriots were doing by taking the air out. The other thing I hear is, oh, well, is Andrew Luck going to get suspended because his balls were under the limit? Again, if you read it, the NFL knows that balls are going to naturally lose some of that air that's within the permissible boundaries. That's another stupid argument. So if you're going to defend your guy, but don't try and tear down Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers because your guy screwed up.
One last thing. What does this do to Tom Brady's legacy, Hall of Famer going forward?
He's in the Hall of Fame. He's still one of the top 5, if not the top 3 all-time greatest quarterbacks. The only thing, it's on his resume. It's not on Elway's. It's not on Marino's. It's not on Montana's. It's not on Bradshaw's. It's on Tom Brady, and he's got to live with it.
Legacies depend on who wants to say it. What's Bill Clinton's legacy? Great president, helped the economy, or Monica Lewinsky? Like, what do you want to say? I think in this case, it depends on who's writing or feeling about the legacy. Brady already was divisive in a way. I do think this is going to be tough to just erase from his legacy. It'll always be part of it.
Coming up, Sports Illustrated's world's most dominant athlete might surprise you on the original Rochester Press Box. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. Dan filling in for Bill Pucko with John, Mike, and the other Dan. Sports Illustrated's coming out this week, and on the cover they have Ronda Rousey, and the title is She's the World's Most Dominant Athlete. We'll go over to Dan. You are our resident MMA analyst and expert. What do you make of this? Is she the world's most dominant athlete?
Yes. Yeah, and it's not even close. I mean, in today's day and age, I mean, if you're looking across the sporting landscape, this is also a sport. I mean, for people that don't watch it, this is also a sport that is one of those deals where anything can happen. Except when Ronda Rousey enters the octagon, we all know what's going to happen. She's going to dominate her opponent and most times finish within 15, 16, 30 seconds. So, yeah, I think she's by far the world's most dominant athlete right now. And if you don't know who Ronda Rousey is, you're going to know. Book out this week. As you mentioned, SI cover. She's a star in Entourage. She's got a fight coming up in August 1st. We are on the precipice of the summer of Ronda Rousey. So if you don't know who she is now, you will.
And also, she's doing WWE. She's on wrestling and doing everything.
I did like the fact why she posed for the ESPN, the magazine, the nude, because her ex-boyfriend took pictures of her while she was naked and was going to send them out. She goes, ain't going to happen. That's why she did ESPN, the magazine, to kind of beat him to the punch. So I don't know too much about her, but I'm becoming such a big fan. I am becoming a fan, so to speak. Is she the greatest athlete? I have no idea. I don't know enough about her. I would say LeBron James. I would say Usain Bolt. There's a bunch of other names, but maybe she is the most dominant athlete.
Well, can you name any other female MMA fighters that doesn't the level of competition have something to do with if you're the greatest athlete?
Yeah, but if you've far surpassed your level of competition, isn't that the definition of dominance? So I mean, if this was a different era, her being out there as the face of women's MMA and really the face of MMA right now is only going to help bring on another breed of Ronda Rousey. It's the next generation of this athlete. We saw it with Tiger Woods. With Tiger Woods out there dominating the golfing landscape the way that he did, if you look at the competition now, I mean, the biggest enemy to Tiger Woods has been Tiger Woods in more ways than one, but also because he spawned on this next generation, which is exactly what she's going to do. But by the time they come, she'll be out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can almost compare it a little bit to Tyson when he first took over. I mean, he was so dominant that he was crushing people. But he became even more interesting when he got beat because he will, like she will, eventually need a rival, need somebody. But it's a sport that, to a certain percentage of the landscape, it's everything, they know all about it. But to a large percentage of the country, virtually unknown, somebody like this will certainly help it. Sports Illustrated, books, all those kind of things will at least bring up the curiosity.
Yeah, I just look at, sports in general. I just think that the level of competition has to have something to do with the fact that we don't know any other MMA fighters, but maybe I'm wrong. Like It or Not returns on the original Rochester Press Box. Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. Dan with John, Mike, and Dan. Like It or Not segment. Mike, the NBA playoffs was super exciting last weekend. 3 buzzer beaters, everything going on. What's your take so far?
Yeah, I think it's going to get better as it goes along, too. The West is still obviously more highly competitive. And I just like what LeBron's been doing. And as we're taping this, he's coming off, a buzzer beater and then a dominant all-around performance. I think he's establishing himself again in that, okay, doesn't matter what's going on around me. I still have it in me to be, the guy with a little bit of help, and I can do it by myself. He can do that in the East. He'll have a tougher time in the West. And it's nice to see guys step up. We laugh all the time about how everybody's ready to bury somebody, Steph Curry, after a bad game or a bad couple of games. Then he plays great, and then he's praised again. I think it's gone back and forth. I think there's been some great stories. Doc Rivers' kid has been a pretty good story. The way he's filled in, I think it's been outstanding, and I really do believe, at least up until the finals, it's going to get better as it goes along.
Yeah, what's your take on the hack of DeAndre?
I hate it, but it is part of the game. Make some free throws. That's I hate it, but come on, make a free throw, and then Kevin McHale won't ask his team to foul you before you even get into the front court. I do have an issue when the foul happens in the back court. He takes the ball out, he's running up the court and someone tackles him. I think to change the rule, maybe Adam Silver to say you have to be into the forecourt rather than the backcourt, that could be one change. But come on, make a free throw. How hard is that? It's a 15-footer. Spend this summer shooting free throws. Okay, that's all.
We talked about it before the show, just how dominant LeBron's been, and he's doing it without Kevin Love and a pretty hobbled Kyrie Irving. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it helps when you're in the Eastern Conference. And I thought P.J. Carlissimo, who has a voice that rivals John DiTullio, by the way, made a great point about this year's NBA playoffs. I mean, when you look at the NBA playoffs over the course of the NBA playoffs, veteran teams that are used to winning in the postseason, look at it right now. I mean, which teams out there have had postseason success and have been used to winning in the postseason? A lot of these teams, even Cleveland, yeah, they've got LeBron, who's a veteran in terms of a postseason player. They're all learning how to win in the postseason on the fly, which is making this year's postseason that much more interesting as well, because normally it's the veteran teams, the postseason teams, the ones that have earned their stripes that dominate this time of year. We don't have those teams this year.
Right, in this playoffs, there's no Kevin Durant, there's no Oklahoma City Thunder, and right now there's no Spurs. So still a very exciting playoffs. John, the Yankees offense is broken out. Can they keep this going all year?
Well, it's really, the key to me is Ellsbury and Gardner, because right now they're tearing the cover off the ball. They're getting on base, which then allows A-Rod, Teixeira, and McCann to drive in runs. Between the three of them, they're over 65 runs batted in. Between the three of them, they're not hitting for average, but they're getting RBI because Ellsbury and Gardner are setting the table for them. So if that continues, they stay healthy, they're hitting the long ball, their bullpen is as good as any in baseball. I look at the rest of the division, yeah, they're going to be in it. What, Tampa's going to run away with it? Baltimore, Boston, Toronto? The Yankees can stay in it if they stay healthy, and more importantly, the top of the order continues to do what they're doing.
I'm almost at the point where I have to apologize to John, because a couple of weeks ago I said this isn't going to last with the Yankees. And they're hanging in there. And it's been pretty good. And McCann keeps getting clutch hits for them. There's still some things to worry about because it is age. I mean, let's face it. It's not like they're throwing a bunch of kids, and Didi Gregorius is not going to be the guy to lead them. But I've been impressed. And A-Rod, he's been good. I mean, right? He's been good.
He's been better than I thought. We thought he'd hit maybe between 12 and 15 home runs. He may have that at the All-Star break, if not more.
Now, in fairness, this is the time of year when the Yankees had to be successful, though, because everybody's healthy. Sure. I mean, Pineda's a ticking time bomb with his shoulder. Tanaka's already missed time. Ellsbury throughout his career has only had, one healthy season. Gardner's been injured the last couple of years. A-Rod can never stay healthy. And Mark Teixeira, it's been one thing after another over the last few seasons. So, yeah, if all these guys continue to stay healthy, the Yankees can keep this up. But is that going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. But I think there's a higher percentage on some of these guys starting to wear down, especially if the back end of the bullpen continues to have to be used as often as it's been used so far this season.
He's where I was a couple of weeks ago. That's why I said I almost apologize, because we got to wait it out a little bit.
Well, it is a marathon, not a sprint. We're pretty early on in this season.
It's just surprising without with Tanaka down, CC not being anything, but the Yankees are still in first place.
Well, I think Danny's point, I think that's why he left Evaldi in the on Tuesday night this past week, because he didn't want to tax his bullpen. He should have yanked him probably after 6, if not into the 7th, but he lets him pitch into the 8th, and the rest of the story.
AL East is going to be wide open. Unfinished business when we return on the original Rochester Press Box.
It's the Challenger Miracle Field, and it's being built in Webster for our physically and emotionally challenged friends. It'll cost $500,000. Opening day is 2016. You can help make it happen. Check it out, webstermiraclefield.org.
Welcome back to the original Rochester Press Box. Dan, John, Mike, and Dan. Unfinished business. John Benton lead off.
We opened the show with Deflate-Gate and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, two individuals that just, I don't know, I feel like I need a shower after I talk about either one. A guy always brings a smile to my face, besides his wonderful crew. Yogi Berra. He turned 90 years old this past week, and sometimes is overlooked as one of the all-time greats in terms of catcher and the Yankees. He's not going to make the Mount Rushmore. If he did another mountain or hill, he is certainly on there. Listen, he coined some of the phrases we still use today. Some of his great quotes. It ain't over till it's over. 90% of the game is half mental. I hear no one goes to that restaurant because it's too crowded. But you look how he dominated the game. He took over the starting catcher role for the Yankees in 1949 and never relinquished it. Over 2,000 hits, 10 World Series, and the fact that he made 16 All-Star games. Managed the Mets to the 1973 World Series, got clipped when he started managing the Yankees, lasted 16 games into the 1985 season. But he's the most beloved, not only humans, but certainly baseball players of all time. And 90 years old, and it's finally, the one thing I wanted to say is, before George Steinbrenner passed away, they had a kiss and make up with Yogi Berra, because Yogi would never return to Yankee Stadium after he was fired. They were able to kiss and make up, but really one of the true great people in Yankees of all time.
Absolutely.
Well, you just mentioned a beloved athlete. I wonder if the era of the Teflon athlete is now officially over, because sitting back, kind of watching the Tom Brady coverage this week, and seeing how it's become a game to tear down athletes, not just the media, but also the fans. We almost revel and enjoy this whole process. People, if you hate Tom Brady after this, you probably hated him before, but now he gave you more reason. In some ways, you should be kind of thanking Tom Brady. What was the reason you hated him before? Because he beat your favorite team? Because he's got a supermodel wife? Because all he does is win? Or maybe Spygate, as Johnny mentioned, needing a shower after hearing about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But if Michael Jordan was living in today's day and age, me and Fetes talked about this before the show, he's a Teflon athlete now, but would he be today? LeBron James, all he's given us is a decision, so we hate him for the decision. But we'll be sitting there waiting for him to screw up even more so that can be the reason that we hate him. A-Rod, yes, he's a cheater. We hated him before he was a cheater. He went to the Texas Rangers. He was a sellout. He got the big contract. But now, he admitted to taking steroids. He got caught, and we hate him for that. But again, we hated him before that. He just happened to give us that reason. So does it speak more about the athletes or us?
Lots of hate.
He
must be working with you a lot.
Hate fuels. Listen, Derek Jeter may be the only athlete we don't hate. I don't even know if Red Sox fans hate that dude. But you're right. I need hate in my life. Hate fuels me. I really do. It does. Doesn't it, Mike? You need some hate.
Well, it certainly helps. All right. Every athlete we've talked about, for the most part today, has been a big-time athlete who likely, if they played in college, other than, like, say, LeBron James, who went right to the pros, had a scholarship. So it brings me to something that we've been doing on our newscasts these past couple of weeks, and it's something that has always bothered me a little bit. There's two words that parents and sometimes young athletes use a lot when describing their decision to go to college. And the words are full ride. And you've heard people say it. They'll say, oh, I heard this guy or this woman or this kid's on a full ride, full ride, full ride. That is scholarship. That is full scholarships. That is everything paid for. Oh, it happens. It happens less than you might think. That's the type of scholarship that only the best of the best and only in certain sports get, for the most part. It's in basketball, men's and women's basketball and football. They're the ones who get that scholarship that everything is paid for. But the vast majority of kids that your kids go to school with or you knew growing up or whoever gets that opportunity to go to college, if they even get a scholarship, they're partial. They're one-year renewables. They can be taken away at any time. And in most cases, they are a percentage of what they're looking for. They're split amongst the team. So it's great when a kid gets an opportunity, and it's great when they go to a school, and it's great when they get money. But for the vast majority of the time, when you hear that term full ride, that's somebody who's taking you for a ride. I'm glad for their kid. I'm glad for the athlete. But sometimes the representation of what actually goes into a scholarship is misrepresented.
Absolutely, and that's what every kid in high school wants and every kid in college talks about. Oh, I was recruited to this school. It happens in baseball. It happens all over the place.
You weren't full ride?
I was not. Go figure. Well, thanks a lot for joining us this week. John, thanks a lot, man.
Bill Pucko Wally Pip. What I want to say. Where's Wally Pip?
Mike, thanks a lot.
King of Elmira.
Yeah.
Dan. We'll see you next week on the original Rochester Press Box. Thanks for watching.